everybody. You may be wondering why there is so many names and only one person on stage. Well, we do the throws and I got the short one. So, okay. The topic of this presentation is pretty complex, but I do my best to make it even more complex. And the idea is not to read the slides, because I assume that everybody of you has already at least a PhD. But the idea behind our presentation is to showcase an humble example of what we can do together with Elsevier when during time we are working with Elsevier, maybe since 2000, we are building a friendly relationship, what we call being able to nurture a culture of friendship and trust. Cattolica University is a medium-sized university in Italy. Our special guest is Jesus Christ, which is in the name of the university, so we feel pretty blessed by him. And the idea behind our campus is that we are an interdisciplinary institution. The only disciplinary area that we don't get is engineering. That's why we were so interested in the keynote address, because we are not directly engaged in being part of a technical ecosystem. In Milan, we have 6 different universities. We have the Polytechnic, which is by far one of the best universities in Europe. And we try to give a different approach to the knowledge transfer. In Milan, we have mostly humanities, scholars, and social scientists. Then we have food scientists in Piacenza. We have a huge hospital, the Pope Hospital, in Rome, and Brescia, again, is a small campus, just like Milano. So we are forced to be interdisciplinary, and according to the vision of our new president, Professor Becali, to be transdisciplinary. What does it mean for us? It means that it's not enough to be able to mix and share different kind of knowledge, humanities, medicine, but to bring this kind of knowledge to what we call the common good. I guess this is the real advantage. There is no Catholic way of making university. I don't know which kind of generation, 3rd, 4th, 5th generation. I feel the responsibility as a librarian to share everything we know and to try to put out of what we are doing the best for the common good. That's the reason we are working on it. We are not very high in ranking, and frankly speaking, in Italy, the quantitative culture of ranking is not very popular. So we try, with the help of our good friend in Elsevier, to bring some figures in the branding, because in Italy, at least in Milan in particular, Catholic University is popular because it's very safe. We try to be as professional as possible, but there is no really a culture of number. So we don't feel obliged to be in comparison with, let's say, Statale or the other 4 universities in Milan. But what we have started maybe 10 years ago is a journey which started with a nice piece of software, not produced by Elsevier. In Italy, there is a consortium, which is called CINECA, which is just like the JISC in UK, and produce every kind of software. I would like to say that I am very happy about the software produced by CINECA, but it's definitely not the case. That's why we try to put the best of the breed by choosing, without trashing out, the institutional repository, which is called Publicat. Also, a new solution, which was deployed in 2022, and it's called Publiras. And as you can imagine, behind the engine, there is the Pure portal. We are not currently using Pure as a current research information system, but only as a showcase, because this is starting from a topic of integration. Integration is really the name of the game. We are pretty confident that in the future, all what we are able to share will need a different approach. Our approach is load once and use many times, every time. This is the flagship for 2024. It's called Digital Commons Data. We don't have still a brand name for Cattolica University, but the idea is to close the gap because of the qualitative approach of the institutional repository, which is fed by PDF. And when approaching the data quality topic, we are addressing a big gap in our culture in the university, not only in the library, but also in the area of disciplinarity we are addressing. We have 12 different faculties, so we have a very different approach to data from physics and mathematicians in Brescia and the humanities scholar in Milano. That's why we choose a tool which was so wide to be able to get fed by different kind of data. And frankly speaking, because we feel the gap from our side, we just started a journey. We are running a course which will last until the end of the year by training all librarians in the library. In Milano, we have more than 110 people. And the idea is to arrive of getting at least 5 data curators. I guess that the data curation is really the game changer, because otherwise you cannot make a consultation to our scholars if you are not confident about your skills. Our concept of open science is no different from any other university. Again, there is no Catholic way to be open science. What we feel is that collaboration and efficiency could not split because we need to have a cultural approach to open science. When we speak about, for example, centralized and federated repositories, we feel the responsibility of helping the team in Rome, which is by far smaller than ours. There are only 10 persons with the same level of responsibility and of knowledge that we are sharing. So as a matter of fact, the Milan campus is acting like a center of competence for the whole university, but we don't feel to be the big gorilla in the jungle. We simply feel the responsibility to be able to share what we do. This slide, and then I pass the baton to my good friend Kaveh, is about the dream of being able to delivering a multi-channel. What does it mean for us, multi-channel? We don't have in the library at present time a social media channel because we feel that we don't get enough information to share. But in the future, we hope to have also this kind of information. At present time, we have an OPAC, of course, a new OPAC, which is based on the same principles of accessibility we are speaking about yesterday. We use React for being everybody able to access this kind of OPAC. We have 5 different portals which share different kind of information, including archival information. And as the new jewel of the crown, it's not on the slide, but I just spoke with Kaveh yesterday. We are launching a data lake. This is by far the most important project in the next 5 years. Data lakes means that we will be able to accept and to share every kind of information, structured and non-structured. This is part of a larger project led by the Vatican Library, which has the same owner, as you can imagine, as the Catholic University. And the idea is to be able to accept and to share every kind of information coming also from other partners. So the idea is the data lake. It's not about making the lake, but it's making a good data. I am obsessed by data quality. So the idea is that everything we are going to share in this ecosystem should be able to come into the data lake and again to be useful. This is probably the only presentation where we don't speak about AI. But there is a reason. The reason is that we are still experimenting, and what we are going to do in the data lake is to make an innovation laboratory. We plan to use in the next 5 years every kind of gimmick, every kind of innovation, every kind of solution, and to put it in a comparison. Not only generative AI, not only predictive, we cannot even imagine which kind of AI we are going to face. But the idea is to get all these kind of tools and to make analysis, to make simulations, and then to put the results of this simulation into a particular format, which is called FITS, which is the format which is used by astronomers of the NASA for archiving. The beauty of FITS is that it acts like a time capsule. So the idea is that, I was mentioning yesterday to my friend Kaveh, now there is GPT-4, so we run an experiment about a data set in physics, and we archive in FITS format. Maybe in 6 months, Mr. Altman is going to release GPT-6, and we run again the same experiment using new tools, and then archive again in a diachronical way the results. So that in the future, we will be able to track the advancement of AI, not as a gimmick, but as a tool for fostering scientific discovery, which is our promise to you. Ciao.
Thank you, Paolo. And before we continue to the next slide, which basically starts this journey of collaboration, I want to make this acknowledgement that University of Sacred Heart started the partnership with Pure maybe 6-7 years ago with a minimum possibility, because as Paolo mentioned, one of the key stakeholders in Italian research infrastructure is this national repository. And we didn't have anything to connect to IRIS or a CINECA repository. And, but they put a trust on us, and we really appreciate this start of the journey. I remember once I started my career, the Pure contract was even lasted more than a year or year and a half, and there was no implementation. So we really started from the scratch, and the IT team, which they are not here, they made the first actually translation API for fingerprinting to Italian publications. So for the first time, we actually created a solution to show a fingerprint that it was in Italian and it translated in English, so the researchers can see it. So we passed those days, we built a connector, things are moving fast, and about 7 months ago, we created another big project together with Sacred Heart, and this is where I'm going to show what we are envisioning for the next, hopefully, 5 years collaboration. So this is the full, basically, let's say, diagram we are thinking about. As you can see, Pure is in the center or heart of all this cycle. So we created 3 different squares or 3 different projects. Maybe the main project is on the left top, is how basically we started the connection of a repository IRIS to Pure. So we built this connector with API. The first connection was just by persons and publications. The curation by Scopus data was the first basically step. Later on, we realized we can actually import more data, and one of them was projects. So with projects, it means that we also can take the possibility to attach them with the data sets, and with data sets, we can go to the projects like open data and so on and so forth. So the first square, we are almost there. We have completed 95% of the project. In fact, we are now connecting the publications, persons, and organizations through this. Why I'm showing this? Because there are many countries that they have this kind of national repository. And the concept usually is a bit defensive because everybody thinks, oh, but Pure is coming, so it's going to take over this national repository, and we cannot do it because there is a mandatory obligation by the ministry. But this is how we are seeing it. We are seeing it as a complementary tool where you are still keeping your national repository with any purpose that it is served, but Pure is doing more analytics, international, basically use cases or collaborations and things that are not really meant to be for the national purposes. So the second part is the data cycle, or basically, let's say that data project. So once the projects of IRIS is inside Pure, let's go to a bit, sorry, more magnified picture. So this is the first project, as I mentioned. We are using Scopus connector, and we are taking all the national repository data, including projects, and we are classifying it in Pure. The second one is data. So once we have the data sets in Pure, we are going to create a DataSite connection to Pure. DataSite is the biggest repository for data, but the problem of DataSites is it is not curated. So we are going to make sure that we can identify the affiliations. It means that contributors should be identified for the associated university. And then once we are creating this project in Pure, automatically we are triggering the project in Digital Commons Data. So Digital Commons Data is another platform that is meant to be for creating collaborations for basically data projects, and it's a platform for saving as a repository or collaborating between the researchers. So this trigger point creates a collaboration between inside affiliators and outside. So there is a chance even a collaborator outside the university can work in that platform. And then after the publishing the data sets, there will be a DOI minting that will trigger to the DataSite, which is the open data repository, and then it goes back to Pure project. So this cycle, which create this open data process, is the next phase that we are going to implement. So we have all the platforms ready, so we are going to do it very soon. And the last but not least is another project that we are going to use with a new tool, which we call it Equipment Monitor. So once we have many data coming from the national repository through the connector to Pure, we are also thinking, what about data about laboratories, investment of universities, let's say a very expensive tool for medical hospitals or physics or astronomy. There should be a justification and tracking how that instrument is actually creating science or actually getting a benefit, impact, societal impact, financial impact, and also justification for the new grant. So how you're going to do it? You need to track, and it's very difficult to track it. So what we are doing, we are going to create a list from the infrastructure that University of Sacred Heart has invested, or there is a national collaboration between different universities. So we are going to using this taxonomy inside the basically Equipment Monitor, a platform that is connected to Pure. And then we are going to text mine Scopus publications. Through that, we identify which publications is basically using that kind of tool. And we are creating this curation, and then we are through the linking profile, which is another process, we are basically bringing back this link to publication. So the pure automatically starts to connect all these laboratory tools back to the publications, and it creates a very valuable reporting for research office, strategy office, and basically for the funders. And this is the last piece of this project. Obviously, with this success, we are envisioning bigger projects, as Paolo mentioned about the data lake. But for this part, we are just going to have a pause. And yeah, happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paolo and Kaveh. Very ambitious projects in the works and a lot of success already. And I'm sure there will be some questions in the room. Yeah, we have 5 minutes.
Hello, thank you. Oh, is it working? Thank you for. Oh, sorry, everybody awake. Thank you for your presentation. I had a question about the data project. Maybe if you can go back to that slide.
Sure. This one.
Yes, so I was a bit confused because I thought if you publish something in the data site repository, then a DOI is automatically already created for that data set, right?
Yes.
So what's then...
Okay.
I think I didn't understand the left
no, that's true. That's true.
part.
So, if a researcher is going to independently work and publish it, this will be doing the same job. But through that, we are giving the possibility of collaboration. So this platform with the high security provides the researchers of university, your university, working with another university in a safe environment, and then directly they can publish it. And that would be directly doing the maintenance instead of bringing back to, I don't know, one university repository and then submit it in data set. So this is a more automatic way.
So it's separate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Okay.
You refine your data from this iris,
Yes.
and do you plan to send it back to enhance the overall good quality of the national database? Or is there any mechanism?
No, that's why, because it's a basically governmental institute, so they have their own requirement, and this is not meant to really enhance their data. It is meant to use that data and enhance the data of the quality of the university. So definitely, maybe in future we can do the collaboration with IRIS, but with government collaboration is very difficult. Yes. So yeah.
That's the main reason we choose to have another repository, not to obliterate or to miss the data coming out from IRIS, which is by far our institutional repository, and we are proud to be part of the CINECA consortium. The idea is that data integration need advanced tool. We cannot simply wait that CINECA or other government institution is providing us what we need to be competitive right now. That's why into the PubRes, which is the pure version of our institutional repository, you can find also different kind of data than the ones that are coming out from the CINECA repository. And frankly speaking, the way of showing, for example, the collaboration on a geographical manner is by far more compelling and beautiful than the one when we get from the plain vanilla repository. That's why. That's also a reason of being able to showing the beauty of the research, and it's difficult to make it from a table. It's by far from a knowledge graph.
Yeah. Thank you. I have another question. I was wondering, you talked about this list of infrastructures and lab equipment, and I was wondering, are these very clear terms and names that you use? So is this list something, what should this list look like? Will the text mining work?
Right. So there is two technology at the same time. One, we need basically, I think there is a standard of names in basically citation for infrastructure that is being requested by the university. I mean, the full code and the full name. So there is this thing. And then we are not going to only rely on that. We are using basically a vicinity. So let's say there is atomic force microscopy in what version in one university, but in the publication they are using like atomic microscopy or microscopy. So we are trying to also guess in a little bit more knowledge guess on that. So yeah.
This is a very good question, because one of the main obstacles we are facing is about bringing a data quality culture to researchers. We cannot make quality data without the quality of research. So when we are text mining the back file of our publication, we are speaking about 100,000 publications in the last 10 years, we are facing great difficulties because this is an experimental project and we are very proud to partner with Elsevier, but we cannot miss the point that if you put rubbish into your publication, you are going to get rubbish outside, of course. But we hope that in the future, the researcher will be able to understand that the quality and the effort they put into the publication is going to contribute to the success, not simply of a university, but the knowledge. If we are obsessed by open science, you need to get the same information for make the same experiment. And if you don't show the kind of machinery we are using, we are simply not getting the same results. But very good questions.
One more comment. So we started this as a pilot project, the equipment monitor, but then through the 1.5 years, it reached to the mature product. So now actually we are having some institutes that they are using this infrastructure list, and so it is really on the basically let's say application stage now. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much again, Paolo and Kaveh.